Hey Monday mamas, here we go. It's another Monday. We're actually like almost mostly through this Monday. It's 2 o'clock. And if you're in Carstairs area-ish, Airdrie, Calgary, it's the almost last day of school. This is our last Monday mamas when we are in school. So I'm not sure what the summer is going to look like. I'm going to do my darndest to be on here at least once a week with you guys and just check in, see how we're all doing. But I thought today, maybe as we're kind of departing our regularly scheduled programming, it's going to be a bit different for over the summer. I was going to share a little story with you guys. A little story about Grace. Good old Grace. And I have a 6-year-old daughter. She's beautiful and lovely and sunshine to all the people. And her name is Madeline. And we named her Madeline because my middle name is Lynn. And my mom's middle name is Lynn, and I wanted Lynn in her name. And I so badly wanted her middle name to be Lynn. But when my husband and I were pregnant with her, the season of life that we were in, we were just living under this tremendous, I don't want to call it a cloud. It was like a cloud. It was a cloud of grace. Life was not easy. To give you a little bit of context, we had just moved to Carstairs. Not just, we've been here for like a year and a bit. The job that he had was at drastically started reducing hours. So he'd gone from working like a full-time job to being like maybe 15, 20 hours a week. I was working part-time at the time. And in November, she was born in May, we made the decision that he would ask for a layoff, and because he was making basically what he would make on EI, and I would go to work full time. Other context of the story was that I am not a good pregnant person. I did not do well pregnant. I was super sick with her for probably, I don't know, it was probably right around then that I started to feel better. Not even, I don't know, but it was bad. Anyway, so that was our life. So we barely had enough money. We were like barely making the bills. Like there was no money for extras, and we were expecting our second baby. And yet, the entire time through that journey, at every point when it seemed like, how are we going to make this? How are we going to pay this bill? Like, the mortgage is due. What's going to happen? Something would happen. And we'd find a way through. One day, for instance, I had called Rogers to talk to them about our phone bill. And by God's grace, I got this woman on the phone who was just an angel from heaven. And she had somehow found a way to give us a credit on our account for the next year. A credit that made it possible for us to pay our bill for the next year. Things like that. And so through this process, we were just living in this cloud of grace. And I said to my husband, I said, her name has to have grace in it. Like we always have to look at her and remember that God has been so good to us. Like, despite how hard it feels, he has been so good. So, to get to the end of her name situation, we had all these names picked out. We were trying to figure out how to do Lynn. But I really wanted Grace to be her middle name. And in the high ecstasy pain after birth, the nurse had asked me what her name would be. And I said, it's going to be Emma or something else. And she's like, okay, great. I'll come back in a few minutes and we'll figure it out. She came back a few minutes later. And so she said, okay, well, what is it? Is it Emma or whatever else it was? And I looked at her and I said, no, it's Madeline. And my husband looked at me and he was like, what? And I was like, Madeline Grace. It's just fits. So her name is literally Maid Lynn. That's how we spelt it, Maid Lynn. So we made a Lynn to keep Lynn in it. And then Grace, because God's grace is just so great. And I want to connect that to us where we've been talking about lately, because I think grace connects beautifully to our ability to live in abundance. And so many of us live in this scarcity mindset, which is, to be completely honest with you guys, is freaking crazy that we live like this, because If you've ever traveled to anywhere else in this world, you know how incredibly blessed we are to simply be born where we are, to simply have a birthright to Canada. We have so much, and yet we are living in a mindset of there's never enough, we'll never have enough, we're always behind the eight ball, we're always trying to play catch up. And it creates this tendency where we hang on to things. And if you want to think of what grace is a hand wide open. And I've really been connecting lately. 3 months ago, I started doing some business coaching. It's a high price. I am a business owner. I think of price, I think of cost. This is how my brain works. And the cost was high. And I really didn't know, quite honestly, if I needed it. I was doing fine. Did I really need it? And here's what I will tell you guys, is I had a moment last week during my coaching call where I started talking. I started saying things like a person who was living out of abundance. I'm no longer running my business or my life out of a mindset of what if I don't have enough. It's always there'll be enough. We'll find a way. There's always more. God's hand is always open to me. He's never closing his fist on me. It's always open. And my job, my passion is to intentionally follow him into what he's leading me into where that hand is guiding me. And I just want to really challenge everyone as we come into summer, as we come into truly a season of abundance, if you want to think of how the seasons work. Like, this is when there's growth and things are moving and we see things in full bloom. And like, this is the time that we see these things. Structure your life in the same way. Stop holding on to things so tightly. Stop being worried for the other shoe to drop. My husband and I had a tendency when we were first married, and probably for a long time, something good would happen and we'd always be like, okay, well, something bad's coming next. Like, it was this not allowing ourselves to celebrate because something bad was coming. And you guys, we need to celebrate. When we look around and we see other people hurting and people get sicknesses, hit their families, and there's car accidents and there's so many horrible things. And yet we still have all these things, and yet then we still continue to live in scarcity of the things that we don't have. But here's my challenge. What if you started to believe in the good? What if you started to believe the good? And what if you started to believe that the world was good and not bad? Because when the man named Jesus walked on this earth, my goodness, was he good. And when he met people, he brought out good in people. And my desire as I live my life is to be Jesus in this world. And by being Jesus, I'm not talking about miracles and crazy things. I'm talking about just bringing goodness, about kindness, about grace, about open hands to people. About peace and calm and welcoming people. And I think we get really stuck being so scared of what could happen that we stop believing what might happen. And my challenge to you as we go into summer, as you look around and you see full trees and flowers in bloom, guys, chase that for your life. Chase it. My son and I did vision boards a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to share his with you because it's precious to me, and I think we can all learn from him. So I'm gonna just come into his room here and flip it around. Here is his vision board, you guys. Can you see it up there? Here's what's so cool. If you look on the right hand side, he wrote, "I did this." There's our cat. You guys, he did it. He's made a vision board, not only casting into the future what he wants, but he's claimed what he's done. And I didn't prompt that. That was him. And I want to encourage you guys to start claiming the things that you have done, to start celebrating the things that you have done, to live in this season of abundance, of greatness, of the things that you have done, and to dream of the things that are coming. And something that my business coach has challenged me to do, which I quite honestly thought I didn't see the value in it. I love doing it, but I didn't see the value. Start looking at things that you're dreaming about. I want you to look at the houses you want to buy. I want you to look at the vacation packages, the things that you want in your life, the things that you dream of, the things that are abundant, start to look at them, start to touch them and feel them. And I promise you that the more you do this, your hand will start to loosen. This fist that we're balled up into of holding on to everything, as you reach for things, as you let yourself dream, as you let things open, it will slowly open. And if you are a faith person, if Jesus is a part of your life, then my goodness, take a minute and sit with him and let him dream with you. Let him cast your dreams, because I promise you they are bigger than yours. So that is my grace to you today. Open your hands, live in abundance. Let a grace cloud fall upon you, whether you are in a time of greatness and things are going well, or whether or not life is hard right now. Grace is for you, and abundance is for you. And it is sunny and it is beautiful out, and let's go claim it. Let's claim the goodness, okay? And then let's spread it to all the people. So that's what I got for you today. Happy Monday. Maybe I'll see you next Monday. It's a stat here. It's a holiday, so maybe not. But I am here. If you ever have anything, reach out. I just am pumped for what is coming. Good things are coming. Something great is right around the corner. So don't stop now.